Today I'm gonna show you how to build two new LEGO Ahsoka vignettes. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Of course I'm watching the new Ahsoka TV series and episode 4 was epic, one of the best, probably the best ever Star Wars episode, maybe after some of the Clone Wars and Rebels episode. So today I decided to build not one, but two vignettes for this episode. Of course you can check out my channel to see the ones that I built for the first 3 episodes, but now let's jump right into the new one, and today we have a full cast of minifigure for this scene. We are gonna put the custom Huyang that I used for the last week vignette because we are not gonna need here. So of course we have Ahsoka, this is the official minifigure. I decided to go with a white lightsaber instead of the blue one, and I'm gonna build a duel between her and Baylan Skoll. I don't have the official minifigure, so I just went with a sort of gray hair, and the torso I think is from a TIE fighter, so this is the closest thing that I could get from my minifigure. Here I have a new Sabine, this is also not official minifigure. I went with a green sort of lightsaber. I decided to swap the red hair that I had last week with this blue that I just found a few days ago, so I think this one works a little bit better, and yes, she has actually a Mandalorian suit. For Shinati, I know it looks a bit like Thor because it's actually is a Thor minifigure. I just swap the head to a female one, and of course a red lightsaber. I don't have any orangish kind of thing like in the show. So let's move these two on the side and let's start right away to build the scene of the duel between Sabine and Shinati. So this is the base that I created. So I wanted to keep it a little bit dark, so the color I picked was black, dark green and dark brown. I hoped I have a little bit more green and dark brown, but I didn't have. So I complement the scene with the black, and these are actually all the dark brown and all the dark green that I have. I make sure to use them in a way that we get a little bit of the sense of color even if I don't have a massive amount of them. So we are gonna put Sabine more or less over here, and we are gonna put Shinati more or less here. So here they are about to engage in their duel. Now, of course, this scene, we are on Seatos, take place into a sort of forest. So I decided to add many different kind of tree. You can see I'm using also some antenna there, and they are there to give the impression of the trees that are further away in the back. You will get a better sense of it once I connect all the different pieces. So I went with this black sort of tree with all the red flowers on top, and of course I scatter a lot down on the floor, falling down the tree. So of course you can see that this forest is not as big as the one that we can see in the show, and that's because again this is all the possibility that I have in my collection. So I don't have any other cylinders and cone and bricks, round bricks to build anything else. So this is the best I could do to give an impression of a forest and then continue back, with this antenna giving the impression of some trees that are more far in the back. It would be perfect to have a lot more foliage. Again, here I use everything that I have, all my red flowers in my collection. Of course, if you can make this a little bit bigger and with a couple more tree trunks coming up, this scene would be even better, and maybe we can even go and cover a little bit over the minifigure. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty satisfied with the result of this build, and I think it's pretty clear what scene has been represented with this one. But now let's move this here on the side and let's move on to the other duel, that is the one between Ahsoka and Baylan. So here we are still on the same place, we are in Seatos, and I had to create that sort of a round platform to which they connect the map to the ring in the sky. So I thought that the best way to create a round sort of platform was to use this sort of wedge plates and make a round shape. But I only have very little amount of them, so the only thing I could do is create something smaller. So as you can see here with some inch, I created a rounded platform using these wedge plates. We're going to connect them over here. Of course, I had to scale it down quite a lot And we can add one more here at the center. Later you will see why I have those connection at the back. So I basically gonna create half of that platform, and I'm gonna scale it down pretty much because this is all the wedge plates that I have in this size. Over here at the center, I decided to create another structure, and here is where we're gonna add the map. For this side, I don't have any bricks that match this angle, so I decided to just use many different kind of wedge plates and corner tiles and stuff to create a sort of broken down half of this scene. A little bit of decoration added on the side, so that if we look at this from the side, it still looks finished. I'm not gonna do it for the back side. So over here we can start to add a little bit of detail. So for example, we have this sort of columns with ring on top that we can see all around this scene, and I'm gonna have a bigger one at the back. This one is actually built upside down. I'm gonna connect to the modified plate over there and then tilt it a little bit forward, because in the scene I think the back part of this is actually the bigger ones are actually tilting a little bit towards the center. And here is where we actually go and point in the direction of the ring that is outside. Now in the scene we also have a little bit of like instruments, sort of lights kind of thing, where they work at night. We can start to add our Ahsoka over here. Maybe we can give her a little bit of a running pose, and then Baylan is waiting over here, more in a stoic position with the lightsaber up. We can add a little bit more of detail over here, so we can have a sort of crate. I think the scene is already quite interesting, and here I wanted to add the map. So I created this little structure. So we have two slopes. At the center I'm running this stud with the bar going up, and then I have this green stud to create a sort of green effect from the Dark Sister magic, the Night Sister magic from Morgan. And then here I have a ring that give a little bit the idea of the round shape of the map, and that's gonna connect over there. And more or less we have the scene quite recognizable, even if of course the space should be way bigger than this. Now to complete the scene, I wanted to create a sort of line of the magic that project from the map in the sky, and this is what I came up with. So I'm using some different kind of trans clear blue power blaster kind of thing with an antenna over here. This is gonna go inside that hole and then sit over there. So it looks like the projection is coming from the map and then going and projecting to the sky. And just to add a little bit extra detail at the end, I created this trans clear structure and this flex tube on top to give an effect like if the hyperdrive ring is back in the sky. Now I cannot fit it inside my camera, but it's gonna be looking something like this if you look at it from the right perspective, like in the thumbnail. So here we have one scene with the ring on top, and actually I forget also to add a couple of details on this one. So I have a broken up trunk over there, and I also have a Mandalorian helmet that is the one that during the duel Sabine lost. So here is my two vignettes. I'm gonna move them here on the side. Let me know in the comments what do you think about these two vignettes, and what do you think about episode 4 that I think was epic. Looking forward to episode 5. If you like this series of vignettes, I highly recommend you to check out my first video of the series where we actually have the vignettes from episode 1 and episode 2. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Ciao ciao!